Howdy y'all, so I got to check out Speed Dates Summer Edition. This is a sort of mini sequel to the Speed Dates game I did a few months ago. This is the follow-up to that. It's made by the same creators. Now, I had my own thoughts about that game. I had a few positives, but I thought the experience overall was a little bit more on the negative side versus other games of its type that I've played. So how was this experience? Well, it somehow kind of got worse. It's weird to say that, but it did. Now, there are some positives about it. One is that they took the amount of dates, because the first game had a whole bunch of dates. There was like 12 or so different women you could see. There was a lot. And so you go through it on the same speed date with each one of them, and then slowly kind of choose which ones you like or didn't like, depending on how the person you play to answer questions. The game would kind of automatically kind of pick for you which one was best suited for you. Compared to the first game, this one has a lot less options as far as women to go on dates with, and that made the experience better, because the first one had way too many women going on dates with. I could barely remember who was who, and it was so awkward just going on the exact same date over and over and over, kind of answering similar questions, and it just felt like it dragged on forever. So it's nice that this experience overall is a lot shorter, because there's fewer women to go on dates with, and each woman that you show interest in, you could go up to 3 different dates with them. And even those 3 dates, they are shorter experiences, so you can get through this game pretty quickly. I played through it twice within an hour, and I was able to see different endings and pick different women. And it did give you the option to kind of skip through some of the cutscenes. Some of them you could skip through, some of them you couldn't. It was a little unclear as to why that was the case for me, but that is one thing that I came across. Now, another positive I had was this guy that you were playing really wasn't in this game at all. At the very beginning, there's a cutscene to set up and show that you're playing the character from the first one, because there's like a text message with one of the random other girls from the first game that kind of just like sped things up real quick. But the actor that they had playing this part wasn't in this game at all. It was from your perspective fully, so you weren't fully like awkwardly going back and forth between this guy and this girl, which is one of my negatives about the first game. So it's nice that they cleared that. So the 2 big positives are they narrowed down the amount of women, so it made it a little bit more personable and the game to go a lot smoother and faster, and they took out the other guy to get rid of the awkward cutness back and forth in between. There is a third positive, but also is one of the biggest negatives of the game. So with the original game, most of it took place in this one location at this like cafe, and then if you successfully went on these sort of dates, it's like, oh, you matched with this person, and then yay, and that's kind of it. So this one is actually the opposite. It is outside. It's outside. You're on the beach. Then you may go to an apartment or go to a restaurant after, or even the woods. There's a lot of variety and locations. So totally opposite of the first game, and it was nice to see that as you're going through this experience. However, that leads to one of the negatives, and what makes this game, and in fact, maybe even worse experience than the first one, which is the video and the audio. Oh boy, there wasn't really any editing, I feel like, at all in terms of the audio, or very little, especially when you're on the beach, which is the first setting. You meet all these women. You could just hear the wind chomping into the audio. The audio sounds distant at times. It's not consistent. It's just, you could tell they just filmed right on the set. They probably filmed it. You can see like people in the background. They probably weren't even extras. They were just random people that were there. And they just filmed it right there with the wind blowing in the beach and recorded audio and was like, you know what, it's good enough. You can kind of hear it. We're just throwing the game. We're not gonna really do much in post at all. We're just throwing it out there. Same with the video. The video at times fluctuates in terms of like camera focus. Once you get into water, it's way different than like when they're on the beach. Definitely a lot better when they're in the restaurant or indoors, and in the woods, it's better. The women, you know, they're in it are fine. They're similar to the women of the first game. They're just kind of reading, maybe less off a script this time and just kind of improvising. It feels like in the moment, but some of the things they say are really cheesy and just kind of unrealistic. You know, all the women are attractive, or you know, and it's cool to be like, oh, I'm hanging out with a attractive person, but it's not cohesive. There's no cohesiveness there. For choices, the choices are back from the first game. So the first game, when you go on these dates, you get usually 3 or 4 choices throughout the conversation with these women. This time, it's a lot less. They only do it like once per date with them. And depending on how you answer that date will determine, oh, you're gonna go on second date with them. So it's like one question, do you want to go another date with them or not? It's pretty much, that's not what the question says, but it's implied by whatever the question is that the woman's asking you. And then if you're like, yay, let's go, then you can go to another date, and then something happens and they give you another question or prompt, and then you answer it. But instead of cutting to this awkward guy that's like reading the dialogue that's in the scene, it literally just select and then they respond, just like any other FMV game usually is. So it felt a little more like, okay, this is more of what it should have been to begin with. I'm glad developers are continuing to make these type of games, and hopefully with a third or fourth one, they actually kind of have a decent experience. It's just frustrating when they take some of what they did that was negative and they do improve on it, but then everything else starts getting worse as a result. And so therefore it's like balances out, and it's just really frustrating for me. So yeah, skip this one, y'all.